Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Mollerup, and this is my ethical dilemma case presentation. I am currently interning at Legacy Elementary School in St. George, Utah. I am considered a behavior technician at the school, and there are two other behavior techs that I work with on a regular basis. For my ethical dilemma, I am going to be giving you some insight into a boy that I work with named Jay. Here's his story. A little bit of background. Jay is an 8-year-old boy at Legacy Elementary School. He is in the second grade. He has attended this school since kindergarten. Jay is the fourth out of 6 children. Jay lives with his mother and 5 biological siblings in a 2-bedroom apartment near the school. Jay's biological father is incarcerated. His mother struggles to keep a steady job. Jay has a sister in kindergarten at Legacy Elementary. Jay has 3 older brothers in middle and high school. Jay attends a state-funded daycare program. He rides the daycare bus to and from school. His mom drops him off to daycare around 7 a.m. each morning and returns to pick him up from the daycare around 7 p.m. each day. When Jay is at home, he states that his older brothers take care of him. Jay does very poorly in school. He performs at a kindergarten level if and when he complies with assignments and tasks. Jay comes to school looking very disheveled on a regular basis. He's very unkempt, his clothes are not laundered, often wearing the same clothes every day. He has been suspected on multiple different occasions to have head lice. His fingernails are very long and dirty. His peers make fun of his appearance, body odor, teeth, nails, hair, etc. He tends to be very aggressive, both verbally and physically, with teachers and staff, especially when asked to do something. Jay does have an individualized education plan, or IEP. A few months ago, Jay told staff members at the school that his mom had a new boyfriend with 6 kids, whom she is allowing to live in their house. They now have 2 adults and 11 children living in a 2-bedroom apartment. Jay has often made nonchalant statements about his older brothers fighting and hurting him. He is often inappropriate but has never mentioned sexual abuse of any kind. According to Utah state legislature, Utah law requires any person who has reason to believe that a child has been subjected to abuse, neglect, or dependency to immediately notify the nearest Office of Child and Family Services, a peace officer, or law enforcement agency. Abuse, neglect, or dependency of a child can be physical, emotional, or sexual. In taking a look at this eco map that I've drawn up, you can see Jay is obviously in the center. A pretty solid relationship going back and forth between Jay and the school. Um, Next, you can see that Josh is Jay's best friend, also at the school. They don't really associate outside of school just because that opportunity is not made readily available to Jay, but they provide a good support system for each other. Um, Next, we have the special education teacher at the school, and she provides what she can to Jay. Obviously, there's not a lot in return from Jay. He's often very dismissive, argumentative, not really agreeable in a lot of interventions and things that they put into place for him. And he is in a general education class with a general education teacher. But since he does have an IEP, the special education department is kind of on his radar. Um, Next, we go to the older brothers who have a very um, frustrating relationship. Neither of them really provide any kind of substantial care or love towards one another, and it seems to be pretty toxic. Next, we go to mom's new boyfriend, who obviously isn't providing much of anything either. So you can see the dotted line there for kind of a strained relationship. There is Happy Kids Daycare, which is a positive experience for the most part. Again, they're providing most of his care, and he's not necessarily giving them anything in return. We then have his teacher, who, again, provides a lot for him. He's not really reciprocating any of that back to her. And then we have mom, who does provide what she can, and he provides what he can towards her. But you'll see the dotted line there for, again, a pretty strained relationship. Mom's very occupied with work and other things, as well as Jay has made several comments about mom, kind of being avoidant and locked away in her room, just scrolling or kind of fighting through her own mental health challenges. So that's kind of the basics for the eco map, and hope that gives you some insight into kind of what we're working with here. Some additional things to consider here. Mom is responsive when absolutely needed, although communication is minimal with the school in specific. She kind of has the perception that wherever Jay is, he is their responsibility, their problem. Reports that she doesn't really have any problems with him at home, although we can imagine that's probably not very accurate. Dad, biological father, is not in the picture and hasn't been for a long period of time. There's no stable father figure in the home. Mom cycles through various boyfriends. Older brothers step in when absolutely necessary. And then we have Miss K. Jay's second grade teacher is older. This is her last year of teaching before her retirement. She does not feel she can provide adequate instruction for Jay. Doesn't really feel like she has any alternatives for him, though. Because of this, Jay goes most of the school days without any real structure, because this is not really something that she's equipped to handle. And there have not really been very many kind of interventions put into place for him. I really wanted to paint a picture here for Jay. This is an 8-year-old boy who does not self regulate. He is behind his peers in most facets in school, socially, emotionally. He is very angry. He is embarrassed. He feels alone, and he cannot meet his own basic needs. Looking towards some of the literature here, we see the social learning theory and the intergenerational transmission of violence. Intervention and recognition of child maltreatment can reduce the chances of delinquency and criminal behavior in children who have experienced abuse and neglect. Whittam also noted that it is important to understand the potential protective factors that intervene in the child's development and to compare the development of those who succumb and those who are resilient. Protective factors such as high intelligence, demographic characteristics, for example, being white or older, or mentorship may mitigate the effects of child maltreatment and future adult violence. Undiagnosed mental health in children is something that definitely needed to be considered in this case. Um, According to the CDC, amongst children living below 100% of the federal poverty line, more than 1 in 5, or 22%, had a mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. Utah state legislator records the following under abuse or neglect of a child. A child with a disability means an individual under 18 years old who is impaired because of mental illness, mental deficiency, physical illness or disability, or other cause, to the extent that the individual is unable to care for the individual's own personal safety or to provide necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, and medical care. Um, and then it also takes into consideration neglect, meaning failure by a caretaker to provide care, nutrition, clothing, shelter, supervision, or medical care. So, with regards to the actual ethical dilemma, the question that I would like to pose is there a responsibility to get DCFS involved at any level? And if so, who should be the one that is reporting? Is this social workers' jurisdiction? Is this the school's jurisdiction? Daycare? Kind of whose responsibility really is it? Or is there even a responsibility to report to DCFS? So, when thinking about ethical decision making, we can turn to the NASW Code of Conduct, which states social workers' primary responsibility is to promote the well being of clients. In general, clients' interests are primary. However, social workers' responsibilities to the larger society or specific legal obligations may, on limited occasions, supersede the loyalty owed clients, and the clients should be so advised. Examples include when a social worker is required by law to report that a child has been abused or has threatened to harm self or others. I just wanted to go over the decision making matrix that was compiled here. So, first, we see an option is to report insights about information about Jay and his family to DCFS. There's also the option of discussing observations with teacher and staff and not personally reporting to DCFS. And lastly, support Jay from a distance. Do not report to DCFS. So these are three really different approaches to this case and what could kind of go on. And then below, you'll just see some different outcomes of what this could potentially look like. Of course, there will always be alternative options of what could happen in the situation, but ultimately, it's our goal to provide the best possible outcome for Jay as our client and make the best decision for him. In conclusion, I just wanted to emphasize the importance of helping to give these children a voice and a chance at succeeding in this world. As social workers, we see so much, but I feel strongly that our decisions in these types of cases are so beneficial. Thank you so much for watching my presentation. I look forward to hearing your feedback and ideas about this case.